Yeah, the former Culture Secretary and staunch ally of Boris Johnson used her resignation letter to really attack the Prime Minister. She has accused him of abandoning Conservative principles, and that's just the nice bit.
Yes, let's talk to our political editor, Christopher Hope, who joins us now. I mean, she really has burnt her bridges, hasn't she?
Well, she really has. Of course, she's a novelist. She got a book out next month about the so-called plot to bring down Boris Johnson. This is 1,800 words of invective, of self-justificatory remarks about her time in office. She's MP for Mid-Bedfordshire for 18 years. She signalled publicly she was going to go early this summer, but in fact, she told Simon Case, she reveals here, the Cabinet Secretary, she was going back in 2022. She's furious. I mean, she completely takes apart personally the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. She talks about his gleaming shoes, his Savile Row suit, or a gleaming smile. She says he has that impresses chief executives. She asks why, and a good question, why have we had 5 Tory prime ministers with not one of the previous 4 having left office after losing a general election? I mean, that's a great essay question on this. I mean, she really does take apart both the PM personally and also his record, levelling up, discarded. She says the Windsor Framework Agreement in Northern Ireland, a dead duck, she says. And she tries to drive a wedge between Jeremy Hunt, which is no one has done yet satisfactorily. She says that that the PM has been disregarding his own Chancellor and taking credit for reducing inflation. It's quite extraordinary. It's August, so Parliament's not back for about 10 more days. But all the opponents for the Tory party will be leaping on these words to use against the PM and the Tories when they're back in Parliament.
But hasn't she got a bit of a nerve, Christopher? When, I mean, as you mentioned there, this whole business of no Conservative Prime Minister since 2010. Well, none of the previous 4 have left office as a result of losing a general election. Yes. Yeah, but I mean, certainly when it comes to Theresa May, that was partly down to her hero, Boris Johnson.
Well, exactly. I mean, yes, exactly. I mean, you could quote Ravi Burns to have the wisdom of how see you as others see you, because quite clearly, yes, she was part of that group around Boris Johnson who brought her guy in. The Tory party, ever since really 2016, has been trying to find an answer to who should lead the country and failed to. And as she said, remove leaders like this. Yes, totally. But it is a... What can you say? Yes, but it's all eyes now on the by-election. We expect it to be around the time of the Tory party conference. The numbers are, there's been one poll in Mid-Bedfordshire back in the middle of last month, put Labour on 28 points, the Tories on 24 points. Reform Party, this rather more right-wing minority party, on 10 points. That says to me that if Sunak can try and find a way to try and give some hope to Tory party members, give some idea, show some leg on tax cuts, or give an idea of why to vote Conservative again, he could eat into that reform lead and actually win the seat. So it's not entirely all lost, but the timing of this will be very, very difficult, just really shortly after the Tory party conference, we expect.
It's very unedifying, isn't it, for Rishi Sunak, for instance, if he's trying to present a united front, things are getting better, to have a former minister saying things like, since you took office a year ago, the country is run by a zombie parliament where nothing meaningful has happened. It is pretty embarrassing that. She's absolutely giving the Labour press tomorrow's headline, isn't she?
Well, that's right, Anne. It is really embarrassing. I think she has got a slight point. I hang around in Parliament a lot. Not much is happening. MPs do go home early. It's not Nadine Dorries telling me that it's a zombie Parliament. Other MPs say the same thing. They wonder where the big idea is. Why can't the government do more? Of course, the problem is they appear quite scared of losing any votes. So any big rebellion, they suddenly withdraw and don't go to vote. It is odd. It does feel like a government clinging on half the time, although it isn't and shouldn't be. The hope for the Tory party is they're going to reshuffle at the end of this coming week on Friday, a small reshuffle at the top of government, and give it more energy and get an idea of. I'm really almost convinced the country, you and me and everyone else, why this party should be given the right to run the government after the next election, expected now next year. The reaction of Tory MPs to this, hasn't been very great. MPs telling me good riddance. She was certainly a loner as an MP. She did her own thing. She went on, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, don't forget, all those years ago, and got the whip suspended from her by David Cameron at the time. So she's someone who I think is an admirable fighter, a kind of working class Tory MP, but she does rub people up the wrong way.